Today we shall be doing the childhood book tag. Recently, and by recently I mean probably a month ago now, saw Lala over at Books and Lala do this, so I decided, hey, why not? It was originally created by a channel called Rose Rambles. I shall link the original creator down below. Go check that out, and let's just hop right into it. First question is there a book you didn't like the first time but ended up enjoying during a second read? I don't think so, because if I wasn't enjoying a book when I was a child, I just gave up on it. Like, I didn't go back to it. And there are no books that I had tried to read in my childhood that I would go back and try to read now. So no. I used to be the type of kid where you used to give myself like, okay, 50 or 100 pages and then you can DNF it. Now I'm like, ain't nobody got time for that. Next question is, do you still have any books from your childhood? If so, what are they? And if not, do you wish you'd kept any of them? I have these two I Spy books that I've owned for forever. Usually I think I was at my aunt's house when we would go over these. I technically don't own them, but I think my aunt does. I used to be really into like Dr. Seuss books, and we kept a few of them. I have an Amelia Bedelia book somewhere. I was really into those books. One of my favorites that I still have is Today I Feel Silly and Other Moods That Make My Day. One of my favorites, still one of my favorites, love this book. Can't think of any other books that I wish I had kept. My reading journey, like as a kid, I read when I was like really little, like when I was still being read to, and then I read a little bit in school. And then when I was like 9 or 10, I started using like the library. So I didn't really own any books then. I didn't start owning books probably until I was like 14. Question number 3 is, were there popular books or book series that you never read or got into as a kid? The big two are definitely Harry Potter. The first time I've never read, it's not like, oh my god, I've never read a Harry Potter book. I did get to Goblet of Fire. Didn't like it and decided I just don't want to continue. I really enjoyed the first 2 Harry Potter books, and I read them when I was probably like an early to mid-teen. Just got to the Goblet of Fire. I think I read the Goblet of Fire, or I DNF'd it, and then I tried reading the Order of the Phoenix, and I really didn't like it, so I just DNF'd it. But I didn't read them as a child, obviously. I read them as a teen. They weren't even on my radar as a kid. I didn't even know they were really a thing. I knew about the movies, but like the books were not on my radar. Then another really popular one is probably the Percy Jackson series. Again, I tried reading that a long time ago. I know I was a teenager. I don't know exactly when. Truly had never heard about that series. I saw the movies when they came out and really enjoyed them for the time period and for what they were, having not read the books. Those were the 2 big ones that I never read as a kid. Question number 4 is, what did you mostly read? Fiction, nonfiction, comics, or manga? Has that changed as you've gotten older? I used to be, when I really started reading, became really into like a lot of contemporary. That was what I read for years. Like some fantasy, but it was a lot of like contemporary fiction. For a lot of my childhood and early teens, I was heavy into YA contemporary, or just like middle grade contemporary, which is so funny because I don't even touch it now. Now I say I read all of what was mentioned. I read fiction, I read nonfiction, I read comics, manga. I read a pretty wide range, but for a long time I was hardcore into contemporary, and that was really it. The next question is, what were some of the popular books when you were a child in your country? I don't know. To be honest, I found out what was popular after I was no longer a kid. When I was a kid, I stopped going to public school when I was 9. And even then, I don't know what it was, but my school, none of the kids in my school, or my school wasn't huge on reading, and I stopped going to public school. And then I mostly relied a lot on my library, so I mostly read a lot of really old backlist books that I just saw on the shelf that appealed to me. So I've I don't really know what was popular other than the two that I mentioned. What was that series called? The book about the cats. Is the cats? What is that book called? I don't know. I'll put a picture here if I can find it, if I can figure out what I'm talking about. My cousin was really into them. She's really into animals. She like currently worked with animals. She was always into them. I was not. I remember she like read the whole entire series and spin-off series and like knew the whole thing, and I was like, sis, you can keep that. I was like, no thanks. The next question is, do you have any reading habits you've carried into your teenage/adult life? Examples: mouthing the words, reading one or multiple books at a time, dog-earing a book, reading without music, etc. I'm still heavy into bookmarks. Always been a bookmark user. I started doing that when I was a kid, and I still do it. I have this, like, it's a weird habit where once I get to the last 100 pages of a book, that's it. Wow, you can so see the stitching in this sweater. That's embarrassing. Once I get to the last 100 pages of a book, the world shuts down. I can't do anything else. I have to finish the book. That's it. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. That's it. I have to finish it. Question number 7 is, how would you decide what to read? For example, did you choose a book based on the cover, the synopsis, or both? I don't quite remember. Probably a lot of times it would be the cover or the synopsis or both. With the library, a lot, definitely. I would do like the cover. If I saw the cool color, I'd be like, oh, cool. I wouldn't necessarily check it out without reading the synopsis. Yeah, probably both. I love people who illegally ride their motorbikes around making loud noise. I just love that. The last question is, where would you normally get books from? Library, yard sales, secondhand stores. The library, as I mentioned throughout this entire video. Again, I was probably like a early teen when I started buying my own books, probably like 14, 13, around there. Before then, it was strictly the library. I would borrow everything to my heart's content. Me and my grandmother used to do this really, really fun thing. We would do this thing where we called them library runs. We lived in a really particularly big county, and our county had a crazy amount of libraries in it, probably something like 10 or 12 or something like that. We would just go to like 3, 4, 5 libraries in one day and just look around, see what they had, and it was such a fun experience because, like, if you're never a person who's ever like been into going to bookstores, like new bookstores in particular, it can be hard sometimes to find new releases. So that's why it can be nice to go to different libraries, because how can you put something on hold if you've never seen it before? So I absolutely loved when we did that, and I would always come home with like 25 books that I didn't even read, but it was just so much fun to be in different libraries and to see what they had and what kept in their collection. Let me know down below some of the habits that you had as a kid when it came to reading. Mostly this was just me talking about how I use the library a lot, but hey, what else is new? I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to, you can go ahead and subscribe down below. Also, all of my social media will be down below, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!